in our remote past. The feelings of togetherness that we have experienced in general as a race, from the beginning of our 12,000 years era of suppression up to the present, is not unity and cannot become unity. Okay? Say that again. The feeling of togetherness that we have experienced in general as a race, from the beginning of our 12,000 years era of suppression up to today, is not unity, and it cannot become unity. What we have experienced in this country and around the world is a forced dependence upon one another. Forced meaning that the pressures that are requiring us to work and be together come from a source of power that is external to the race. Okay? When I use the term forced, what I am saying is that the pressures that are being exerted that require us to be together and work together are external to the race. The evidence for this is that we exhibit little love or no love for one another and no genuine desire for each other's success, although we have engaged in work together. This forced togetherness is what produced the well-known crabs in a barrel effect. For those of you who do not know, and some of the young people may not be familiar with this term, anybody that don't know what I'm talking about when it's crabs in a barrel? Okay. The crabs in a barrel effect is a condition that we have heard described as being the determined effort by members of the race to prevent the escape by any member of the race from the debilitating conditions that we labor under. As soon as one of us starts to achieve freedom from the barrel, someone will reach up, grab hold, and pull them back down into the barrel. This external force is the cause of the feeling of being crowded together without sufficient room to expand our minds and consequently our talents. This crowding creates internal conflicts, discomfort, and a general repulsive feeling for each other. This is a clear indication that genuine love is not yet present, because love is a magnet. It draws like objects to itself. Love is accumulative. Love is self-sustaining. Love is an attractive force. And in the cases where there is a genuine, budding desire of black people to work with one another and to enjoy being together, that effort is thwarted by the design of life and living that has been foisted on us by the ruling power or culture. Let's take a look at how this is accomplished. Disunity is a state of separation or disunion. It is the manifestation of lack of unity. Other nations of the world continually place our people in situations and circumstances where we must rely on other black people for survival, for success, or for the ability just to maintain ourselves. And all the while, the grand objective of people who are forced to live in this manner is to escape the presence of black people and live in that world that is portrayed to us as ideal. A world wherein there are no black people except the token blacks accepted by the dominant culture. Therefore, to become the token black becomes the objective of our existence. This forced dependence that we experience is the result of various circumstances that we are intentionally subjected to. Some of these circumstances that we are continually subjected to are miseducation, suppression, oppression, segregation, slavery, and isolation. Let us now examine more closely how these systems are employed against us and learn what these forms of forced dependence are expected to achieve. Number one, miseducation is the intentional act of systematically giving false, incomplete, and irrelevant information to our people. The miseducation of our people is most eloquently discussed in Carter G. Woodson's book, The Miseducation of the Negro. Fahamme Rasool, anybody had opportunity to read that book beside me? Okay, good. Am I speaking correctly? All right. The Fahamme Rasool teaches that when a people know themselves, they know how to build. Our failure to begin building our nation, our language, and our culture, and our history is proof of our not possessing a knowledge of self. Or in some cases, it is an inability to believe and accept what our discoveries reveal to us. There are those of us who say, well, yeah, I know that, we were first, but what am I going to do with that? Lack of self-knowledge is essential in keeping black people in a servile attitude. And to be sure that we're all on the same page, let me define servile for you. Servile means a servant or slave, or a condition that is befitting a servant or a slave. A condition or situation that proceeds from dependence, hence servile obedience to the dictates of the prevailing culture. Hence, the miseducation of our people will continue until, as a people, we accept the responsibility of providing correct education to our children and our adults ourselves, independent of government assistance. Great strides are being made by our Afrocentric scholars today in making much needed right knowledge widely available. It is up to each of us to make proper application of this knowledge. The process of miseducation is still carried out today in a continuing effort for suppression or prevention. Suppression is the sanctioned act of withholding truth from us by misrepresentation and lying. Any doubt that's going on? Suppression is also the act of destroying the evidence of our achievements and accomplishments in our ancient past. These lies and the suppression of our accomplishments and history have resulted in the negative self-perceptions that our people have. The intent of suppressive acts is to keep our people ignorant of our magnificent heritage and tradition. And acts of suppression are still carried out today in a continuing effort to thwart or prevent black unity. Number 3, oppression. Oppression is the sanctioning of all actions that present needless hardships for our people, or actions that heap injustices upon our people. Oppression is maintaining conditions of cruelty, terrorist actions such as the Ku Klux Klan, or the misused authority of police and other government agencies, and acts of tyranny. Oppressive acts are intended to force and to maintain a submissive state of mind among our people to the oppressor. And oppressive acts are still carried out today against black people in a continuing effort to thwart or prevent black unity. Number 4, segregation. Segregation is a government-sanctioned social system that provides separate and unequal facilities and provisions for groups that have been designated as undesirable by the ruling class or elites of a society. Usually, the undesirable groups are ethnically different from the ruling class. Note, I did not say that the undesirables are the minority, because in Africa, South America, the Caribbean, and India, the groups of people designated as undesirable were the majority. The system of segregation is intended to cause the group segregated against to attempt to imitate the culture and systems of behavior engaged in by the upper class, using money or wealth as a class descriptor or symbol of success. Segregation is still practiced against black people today in a continuing effort to thwart or prevent black unity. Number 5, chattel and mental slavery. Chattel and mental slavery is a condition of subjection or submission that is characterized by the loss of freedom of action and will by those enslaved. While chattel slavery is no longer the law of the land, wage slavery, debt, and mental slavery in the form of undeveloped minds is yet practiced and encouraged. If a people are not educated in their own origins, they are not educated, and they are therefore mental slaves to the people providing their education. Mental slavery of our people is still practiced today in a continuing effort to thwart or prevent black unity. And number 6, isolation, disengagement, and detachment. These conditions is the sanctioned condition of being broken off and separated from the great mass of Kemetic or black people elsewhere in the world. That is, blocking and preventing the establishment of allies among other black people in the world. This is the process whereby we are led to accept the notion that black people here in America are different from blacks in other places in the world. That we in America are better than black people any place else in the world. The intended result of this action is that we, so to speak, look down our noses at black people every place. As you may recall, during slavery, the house slave was encouraged to look down his nose at all the other black slaves. After all, he had attained the objective of becoming as much like the master as was possible without skin bleach. The act of working to isolate us from our brothers and sisters here in America and worldwide continues today in a continuing effort to thwart or prevent black unity. Let's take a look at unity. Anybody have any disagreement about those 6 conditions? Okay. The word unity or united is generally used to describe the state or condition of many entities being one. Sometimes the entities are varied. The entities attain a state of oneness. That is, they move and act as one voice. They've achieved harmony. That is, they become free of discord and dissension. Further, the word unity is used to denote a state of having become organized to achieve a single purpose. Unity describes a group with a combined or concentrated focus. And unity can describe a group cohesion that is brought about by magnetic forces, such as the effect that culture has upon a people. Ultimately, unity is a condition of order or harmony that is achieved by synchronization with the vibration of the law that underlies that effort. Everything in the universe in which we live is established on law. Everything. There's nothing you can think of or name that is not established on law. There is nothing that exists that is independent of law. In the Ancient of Days, following extensive investigations, our noble ancestors, Tahuti, whom the Greeks call Thought, and his wife Mertharti or Heteru, whom the Greeks call Hathor, solved all the mysteries of life. Our ancestors embraced this knowledge that they learned, and they symbolized their understanding of the explanations of the mysteries learned about life and the function of the universe in the figure that you can look over my shoulder and see. That figure is called Ma'at. That doesn't tell you what they knew. It doesn't tell you what it is they understood. Yet this symbol, this lady with the wings and the feather in her crown and her tiara, symbolizes that they understood that everything in the universe was based, created, established on law. The figure of Ma'at is one of three symbols that they use to describe that. They have the symbol of Ma'at by herself, the feather by itself, or the primordial mound. The key knowledge that was gleaned from the work of Tahuti and Mertharti is this, quote, "An ordered law is the underpinning of every action in the universe." End quote. Nothing can be set in motion and accomplished in life or in this universe without that action being in compliance with the law